I train regardless of the rain. Boy, I've been having some tough days, y'all. Guess what? I train anyway. Hey, what's up, y'all? What I want to do is I want to make this a quick video. Before I get started, I thank God for the day. I want to say rest in peace to my mother and father. I want to give a shout out to my brother Shu, my whole family, and my brother Smoke. Welcome home. I'm glad you beat your trial. Then I got a message to the president of the divided states of America. Here's my problem. You're a racist piece of shit. I didn't stutter. I don't fear you. I don't fear white supremacy. I don't fear any reprisal. I don't fear the Klan. I don't fear the Proud Boys. I don't fear any of that. My name's Johnny Shaheed Miller. I'm a veteran. I'm the most patriotic person on this planet. Check me out. On the planet. However, the deceptions, the psychological warfare, the malignant psychology, it has to stop. You're at the helm. Everyone out there, so this it's a fact I want to share with y'all, right? And I said it before, and I got a book that just released on Amazon 2 days ago called The Invisible Bully. I point out all the deception that's used to divide us regardless of race. We are 3% of the world's population, but we're 25% of the world's prison population. Yet, statistics show that there are over 100,000 people wrongfully convicted and incarcerated. You know, friendship is not synonymous with love. It's synonymous with loyalty, right? Like if I'm fighting and you love me, you fighting too. So I don't care if you white or you black or you Hispanic, Latino, or you Asian or you indigenous. I don't care. Let me make this. Your nationality, your origin, your race, your creed, none of that stuff matters to me. One nation, indivisible. So y'all got to understand something. We are at the precipice of our country having a complete makeover. You see they starting to slowly divide us. The President Trash, I don't want to say his name because they're going to censor it, but he's just like Hitler in Nazi Germany. So what happened is when he started his propaganda campaign against the Jews, he wanted to see the response he got from the people. Guess what? Everybody stayed silent. He said, you know what? I'm going to make sure everybody stays silent. Nobody talk. If you do, I'm going to get rid of you. I'm going to silence all opposition so I can continue with my mission of oppression. And that's the same thing the president doing, keeping us divided. I'm not standing for it. Now I'm black. Now I got friends that are white that joined the Black Panther movement. I have no fear of white supremacists. I dare y'all. Did you know that the Civil Rights Act was initially called the KKK Act? Because blacks were scared of what was going on in fear of, let me catch this, of reprisal and retaliation from the KKK. Did y'all know that? So their mission is to keep us silent and prohibit us from taking, or discourage us, from taking social action by keeping us in suspended terror. But if you don't feel fear and you're not distracted and you're willing to stand up no matter what, they can't stop us. There's more of us than them. There are more of Americans that want to see us together that are tired of this bullshit and tired of the deception. There are more of us than there are those races that perpetuate the agenda of white supremacy and division. There are more of us than there are of them. So we have the power. And I said this before and I say it again. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is not making the world think that he did not exist. It's making us forget our power. Got these from my dad. Love you, Pops. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making us forget our power. If they keep us divided, they got us. If you see ICE harassing somebody, harassing a family, if you see somebody being mistreated, man, you got to stand up. You got to say something. If not, you're a bitch. If I'm fighting, you fighting. Because if you fighting, I'm fighting. We got to fight together. That's what this is about, us coming together and fighting together. You know, it takes challenges and adversity to reveal, let me catch this, strength. It takes challenges and adversity to reveal strength. Everybody tough when nothing going on. But how are you when you face with a real world challenge? How are you when you fighting for your life? Guess what's happening right now? We're fighting for our life, but we don't see it because the battle is in slow motion. It's like environmental schizophrenia. You don't see all the things that's going on. First it was abortion. You don't see the stuff going on. Then it was affirmative action. Then they started rewriting history by getting rid of some of the statues of the great black Americans from the Civil War. that were in opposition to the Confederacy. They started getting rid of them. So then you may not see it, but 100 years from now, in hindsight or retrospect, our children think all this shit is make-believe. How did y'all just let them get rid of statues? How did y'all let them rewrite history? It happens like this because social action, which is required for appropriate levels of social discourse, did not occur. We don't talk. We don't talk about relevant shit that pertains to everyone, that's gonna keep us all protected in our best interest. We talk about so many things. It's called environmental schizophrenia. They do it on purpose. That's what I'm saying. The things that they do to keep us divided and distracted are intentional. That's why our only mission is recognizing deception, coming together, taking social action. President Trump, fuck you, you a bitch. I'm not scared of you or your white supremacists. I'm telling you, my name is Johnny Shaheed Miller. I approve this message. Hey, y'all, we need to come together. I'm going to drop the link. It says, join the Black Panthers. I need everybody to join. I need everybody to join. I train regardless of the rain. Boy, I've been having some tough days, y'all. Guess what? I train anyway.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Gani, and we on 95 South TV once again. First and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity because without Him, it'll be no us in this situation, and to be able to interview great people and have great conversations. So first and foremost, second, I want to introduce my right hand man, your baby mama favorite radio host. You know what I'm saying? Cowboys' biggest fan, even though if they win or lose. My brother Jacob the Great. What's going on, brother?
What's happening, man? What's happening, man? Thanks for another beautiful, blessed day. Glad to be in the land of the living, man.
Okay, today, man, I got a special guest on today. I got a special brother on today. I done known this brother probably since he was probably like 8, 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? Since I was rocking with his brother back in since the sixth grade. You know what I'm saying? I see his little butt running around, and now he bigger than all of us. You know what I'm saying? But I got this brother in the house. You know what I'm saying? Johnny Shaheed Miller, right? Is that how you pronounce it?
That's correct.
Johnny
That's correct.
Shaheed
That's
Miller.
correct. That's correct.
I knew I had it right. Johnny Shaheed Miller, activist, author, philanthropist, all of that. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? And what's up, my brother? Good to meet you, Jacob. Jacob, can you hear me also? I don't know if I think he has an issue hearing me. Jacob, can you hear me talk?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
I
what's
can
going
hear.
on with his volume. Yeah,
It's all
yeah, you
good.
can't hear.
I just wanted to introduce myself to him because it's an honor being on here with both of y'all.
Oh, okay, man. Well, let me ask you this first and foremost, brothers. Your dad was a big influence in the community. And first of all, rest in peace to your father, or whatever. But he was a I know he was a big influence in our community. Actually, I don't know if you know this, but your dad and my dad was like best friends or good friends back in high school.
Wow.
And so I always
Wow.
had mad respect for your dad when I used to see him around in the city. So let's talk about first and foremost the impact he had on you and kind of created and allowed you to become the man that you are today.
Yeah, and first of all, I want to say thanks for what you said about my father. You know what I'm saying? Because he recently passed the 28th of July, but he's still here, right? Like looking at me, looking at my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like we push forward, celebrating the life of our father with our life. You know what I'm saying? But you asked me such a great question because people say, "Man, where'd you get inspired to do the things that you do to become an overachiever when you realize you don't have limits?" And just seeing my father's story, you know what I'm saying? I feel like at first he was just going with the flow of life. You know, like a lot of people, they fall victim to their environment, they fall victim to their influences, and they don't realize that they don't have any limitations when it comes to their capability. And the day that he realized that he had the power to change his life is the day that everything shifted. And I witnessed it, the whole community witnessed it, and he was a warrior with a mission. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing he focused on was what God put in his head and in his heart, and he loved his people, man. And he was willing to fight, even if his life depended on it. He was gonna push forward. So that's one of the things I got from my father. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so when did you decide for yourself? Like I know you spent some time in the military and fight for your country and you were you like a you was like almost there and there like black ops or something in the military, wasn't you? Like
What
you
I
was how
what I did a lot with a lot of different branches of service, because I started off with the Air Force and that was electronic warfare, right? But when I got out, I was doing something similar on the ground with the Army. And those guys know how to take care of their people. And then I did something similar with the Marine Corps. And then when I left Southern Iraq, I was doing something similar with the Navy for the networks. And I just kept moving around with different organizations, but I learned, how to take care of your brother, how to take care of yourself, and what it's like to wake up with a mission. You know what I'm saying? Where nothing gets in the way between the signal, which is the thing that you want to accomplish, the thing that you want to hear, and the noise, the interference, which you can ignore if you choose to. So I realized that we had the power to accomplish things without letting ourselves get distracted, because it's a choice. And I don't allow myself to get distracted. I make the conscious decision to push forward, irrespective of adversity. I faced a lot, and it doesn't matter what's coming. I'm going to handle it the same way.
okay, so let's talk about your movement with the Panther Party and you inspired by writing this book. I heard you talk a little bit a few days ago on Taylor's platform, and so I've been seeing you, for a minute. And I finally said, you know what? I get her up and said, I need to get my man on the show. So because especially in the light of what happened last week with the Charlie Kirk situation and America seemed like they did lost their mind over this man. So I felt like what you doing right now is very needed. It's kind of funny how things line itself up in the universe, and what you're doing now is very needed. So just talk about your movement for a little second.
Okay. So one of the things that what I started doing was I realized through psychology that they've been weaponizing influence, right? They use our own brains against us. Our brains amygdala is where our fear come from. And they've been selling us on fear. And the people who have the majority back when Hitler was doing it, he was weaponizing fear with the Nazis against the Jews. Is the same thing Trump is doing against the majority, against us, the people that are the most impressionable. That's what he been using. He been using fear to make them say, hey, you know what? We're losing our country. So he been selling white supremacy the same way they weaponize Christianity with that white Jesus to make us think that that's what he looked like so we can see ourselves other than we are. But me knowing the truth, knowing psychology, I can talk psychology with psychologists. I've been studying this like I don't study anything else. So I know what's been happening with religious weaponization. I know how if you go through trauma racially, then that'll be ingrained in your DNA. So it becomes a part of you, but also your triumphs before that are part of you too. So it's the thing that you focus on that you bring to fruition. So I've been wanting to wake people up so they recognize their power, where they recognize that we got God in us, and there are certain things that I delineate in the invisible bully that I talk about.
Mm,
I talk about
mm,
racism. I talk about the political divide. I talk about self-hatred. I already mentioned religious weaponization. I talk about all the things from poverty that they do to make us feel like we're less than, and the things they do to make themselves feel superior. And what they do is they create what's called environmental schizophrenia, where we have so many things from the living conditions to how we see ourselves to the broken families to 75% of black mothers being single parents. We got so many things that we're fighting that we never decide what we're going to focus our attention on. And that's why I said, well, if I focus on bringing us together, that's the first step. The next thing is protecting the children, because then we can see clearly what they're doing to attack the kids. Because if they keep poisoning the root, the tree gonna be trash.
mm. Well, let me ask you this question. How much of a responsibility do you think is on us as black people, as melanated people, to basically take control of our own destiny and basically try to empower ourselves more so than looking for the other side to empower us or to give us what we want?
Touch it.
How much of Go ahead.
I want to finish listening to you. I thought you were done. I rather listen to you than talk. So were you done with the question? Because I can answer it in totality, and I'd rather you finish the question that you were asking me.
Well, when I was done, I was just basically saying how much of a responsibility, because a lot of times with myself, I'm a big person on creating your own destiny and creating your own lanes and creating your own businesses. That way, you don't have to ask nobody for nothing. So, how much of your studying that you've done that you feel like we can empower ourselves without asking for certain stuff?
I love it. So I got a three-part answer, right? I'm going to give you the answer to your question, which is 100% is on black people, on melanated people, to pull ourselves by our bootstraps out of these conditions. So that way we stop being influenced by what has got us to this in the first place. For basically what we focus our attention on, right? A lot of times we'll spend all of our, I would say, discretionary income on things other than investing in our future, right? And I feel like it's 100% our responsibility for us to do it ourselves. But here's the problem. When you study religion and study science, you know that the mitochondria on your DNA shows you that everybody's related. So it's not us against them, because that wasn't your question. What happens is a lot of people, when they start looking at black power, they start seeing a race war. They see us against the whites. That's not what this or no movement has ever been about. We want equity and equality, and we'll fight anybody for equity and equality. And as a segue to my second point, there are several people that are not melanated or that are not white. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people that just want to help in general, that don't put themselves in a category. They just say, hey, y'all fighting, I love y'all, I'm gonna help too, right? You can't tell me that you're white and you're my friend, but when I feel pain, you don't feel pain. Or when I fight, you don't fight. If you're my friend, you want what's best for me. And if I'm fighting, you're willing to fight. Friendship is not synonymous with love, it's synonymous with loyalty. Because love fades, loyalty never does.
And I'm gonna say this before I give it to Jacob. I'm gonna tell you why I agree 100% with you, because I spent 5 years in the Air Force, and the one thing about when you in the military, it's about brotherhood. It ain't about who the next man, what color he is, where he came from, nothing. When you in them trenches, it's about brotherhood, and it's about you having each other back. It's just like when you play a sport. You don't care about if the offensive lineman is white, if the linebacker is black. Whatever you all you care about, we out here to try to win this game. And it's the same thing when you out there. So I understand exactly what you mean. If you with me, you with me. So yeah, Jacob, you got anything?
Yeah,
We can find. Go
peace,
ahead.
peace and blessing to you, brother Said.
Same
Can
to
you
you,
hear
Jay.
me?
I hear you fine. I hear you
Yes, we can
perfectly
hear what.
fine.
Okay, okay, great. So, with you being such a intellectual mind and understanding that you have the power to unlock the shackles from the mind of people that look like you, like what is that process and how do you get through to our people?
Man, that's such a great question. I'm glad you can hear me now. Peace and blessing to you too, my brother. I feel like the process is first, it lies in understanding the foundation. So, and I mentioned this before on Taylor's podcast, and this is what I feel like would be what I want to be the takeaway for anybody that wants to tap in, right? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is not making the world think that he did not exist. It's making us forget our power. It's deceiving us so we don't know that we got God in us. When we realize that we are descendants of Jesus, when we realize we are descendants of the 12 tribes of Judah, when we realize that we are the original man, when we realize that we are powerful beyond measure, we stop focusing on what they show us on TV and what we hear in this trashy music, and we start creating our own. First, it starts in recognizing our foundation has been intentionally poisoned. That's how they deceive us. And I would say that once people, I put it all in the book. That's why I wrote the book, to answer your question. That way they get to see all the things they have done to oppress us and to change the way we think, where we challenge our thought and channel our thoughts, and we don't challenge ourselves in order to address the narratives that they define for us instead of us figuring it out for ourselves. It's to present it information. It's basically like all the propaganda they sell us, we buy instead of us thinking for ourselves and saying, you know what? None of that stuff makes sense. Once we understand our foundation, the second step is us coming together. And I put it in the book, can you imagine what happens if we were all united and we said, you know what? We're going to shut down international commerce. Nobody's going to the airport today because we parking there. Can you
Mm,
imagine that? We shut
mm,
down the economy. When we say, I think Walmart is over 1% of the US population, their employees alone. Can you imagine if they say, you know what? We not selling stuff today. Can you imagine if we just park on bridges and say nobody's traveling? We're not going for it right now. We demand minimum wage to increase. Minimum wage is the lowest amount you can pay somebody to fucking live on. The minimum. And everybody just
mm,
like, it's okay. They're not gonna adjust it to inflation or cost of living. So you mean to tell me that even when conditions are more unfavorable than when you establish the baseline from which you got to pay them, you don't change it? That means you don't care about the people. We have the power. So I would say it's three parts. I would say first is recognizing our greatness, then it's two coming together, and then it's three taking action.
mm,
I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. So with you being such a unique intellectual and with you being a person that's been teachable and been coachable a lot of years of your life, when it comes to um, us being melanated people and us seeing how our grandparents and great parents lived off the land and how they taught us agriculture at an early age. Why do you think the melanated people have got away from, the process of agriculture, the process of land, and the process of ownership? Because if you know anything about agriculture, anything about land, then you must know about ownership.
We've been we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled, as the honorable late great Malcolm X once said. We've been tricked. They trick us with, you know what? You don't need that land. We're gonna put you in this nice tenement. You can save money over here. They've been removing the opportunities. So they stopped supporting the black farmers to a degree when we started getting our freedom. So even though we had the same crops, our businesses deteriorated. And that's what they did with our opportunities. The same thing they did with Black Wall Street. That's just example of what was happening on the macro scale across America. The things that they control that we are a part of, they destroy. That's
mm,
that's the only thing that's been happening. There's not a person in the world, there's not a guy in the world. I mean, just as a takeaway, right? There's not a guy in the world that doesn't think that, man, I wish I had one lady that was the lady I want, that was waiting for me, that was made perfect from God, that I would not save myself for if I knew she didn't exist. But the music and the television and the thing that you see around you tell you that that's an impossibility. They tell you that the girl you want, she's not gonna be untouched. She's not gonna be loyal. She's not gonna be in your corner. They sell you the fear of greatness not being attainable and achievable. And the thing that you want, they tell you it don't exist. So then you just throw your hand away. You just get rid of the blessing. The devil he get in your head. He go, oh man, you know what, man? You might as well do what you're gonna do, because by the time you find her, I mean, she's gonna be ran through anyway. They sell you on this trash. Or they tell you, man, you know what? You can't do that. Like me, I don't have the fear. That's why I'm willing to do the thing. I'm willing to investigate. No matter what I hear, guess what? I'm gonna go find out. I'm gonna go see for myself. The only way I know that it can't happen is because I tried and it didn't work. And guess what? I don't have life in my body no more. As long as I still got life, I'm gonna push. They trick us and they're not recognizing our power.
Okay, I dig it. I dig it. And another thing with you, with you being a speaker, um, a motivational speaker, I would say not a motivational speaker. I would say uh, a purposeful speaker.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because
mm,
there's purpose. Because Cause you come from the original PPP, power, purpose, and passion.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? You know what I mean? So with that being said, when you're speaking to an audience, whether it be youth, whether it be adults, whether it be college kids, whether it be a Fortune 500 company, how do you come up with your topics to to speak on certain stuff, and what is that process, and that we can tap inside your mental capacity and your intellectual capacity just for a second? Can you kind of share those things with us?
I love it. I love it. Great question. And the crazy part is, I'm such a dope freestyler and I like the impromptu thinking. You can give me a scenario and say, hey, there's at risk kids. What would you talk to them about? And you can just give me another example and I can come up with the message right now. Because what happens is the same way I said they trick us to not recognizing our power. I would want them to focus on the thing that they really want to achieve. I would want them to see that they are from greatness. And then I would want to weaponize their minds so they know that they are under attack with the statistics of them being more likely to be a prisoner in that system where they get stuck making money for the government. I would want them to see why it is that they're at risk and so that they see that it's intentional. But the first thing I do if I don't know what message they want me to give the audience is I would look at, if it's corporate America, they want these guys to be more motivated, right? So then I would basically look at me because I can't think of one audience you can get me to speak to that I can't relate to. I relate to the people that feel like they get tired. Man, you never got tired. You could tell me you tired right now at 11 midnight. And if your wife or your kids need your help right now, oh, guess what? You got a sudden boost of energy. So you can always tap in. So people can't sell me on that. And you can't sell me on you not having the ability to focus on something. Like a lot of people go, oh, I got ADD. I understand that. But if God was telling you your purpose, you would not be suffering from ADD. You would hear every one of the words and not have your face glued to your phone. And I feel like people make those weak ass excuses for the things they really don't want to do. And I'm the nice kick in the ass I feel like everybody deserves once in a while because I did it to myself.
Mm.
You take the
I dig
excuses
it.
away, everything possible. You take
Mm.
all the weak excuses away, everything is possible. Man, I've been through so many things, and the only thing I never did was stop. When I broke my last world record, man, you see that? I don't know if you can see that on the camera.
Yeah, I can see it.
About
Mhm.
11, 12 inches scar, man. The largest muscle of my tricep snap. I still broke the world record with one arm. I could have said, man, it hurts. I could have said, I might need to see a doctor right now. I could have said, man, I got injured. I'm sure y'all will understand. Man, look, I'm pushing to the death. Even with my life on the line, I'm gonna push forward. Nothing stopping me. Man, God wake me up every day. I say, God, I love you. Thank you for the blessings I receive, even those I don't see, know, or understand. I got it from here.
Well,
I
you
dig
know
it.
what? Don't gloss over that. Go back because the thing about it is the one thing we don't do as Black people, we don't celebrate each other enough. We don't give each other our flowers. So go back to your world record. What's your world record for?
The first one I broke was the most weight lifted by bicep curls in 1 minute. It was 63 or 67 curls I did with the 45-pound dumbbell in 60 seconds.
Oh wow. Oh
Wow.
wow. Okay.
And I did that after I tore one of my biceps. I never got it fully repaired on the side. And I
Mm,
still broke the record. I didn't think when I snapped my bicep, I didn't think, oh man, maybe I should do something else. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
I was focused on what I wanted to do and I just wanted to push forward and do it. And that was it. That was my mind didn't think about it not being possible. Like I got hit by a bus in 2019 leaving the gym. And when
mm,
the bus hit me, when I saw the bus coming, I was like, you know how time slow down when you're in the middle of that tragedy occurring, unfolding.
mm,
I said, oh
mm,
man. I said, oh man. And and then by the time I felt the impact of the bus, it didn't hit my head. And I was just thinking like, don't flip. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can control
mm,
it. And I skinned my arm up, but I stood up as soon as I hit the ground. I just wanted to see because I dislocated my leg pretty bad, about 25 years ago. And when I tried to stand up, the first thing I did was try to stand up, and my leg wasn't there. It was disconnected under my knee. So the
mm,
first thing I wanted to do was stand up to assess the damage. I stood up. I just felt a little, a little burn. I said, "Oh man, this is nothing." I kept jogging instead of laying in that stuff. I said, "Man, because imagine I could have stayed there like, oh man, I'm so hurt. A bus hit me."
Mm-hmm.
But when you're willing to push forward, man, there's no telling how much you can do. Like once they told me that we had God in us and the thing that we focus on is the only thing that exists, I said, man, I instantly became unstoppable in that moment. I got to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I am the most motivated person on the planet. Nobody's gonna outwork me. Nobody's gonna whip me. I don't care what question you ask me. I don't care what question you face me with right now. Guess what? I got the answer right now. Nothing gonna
Yeah.
throw me off balance right now. Cause man, God is the reason I do what I do. When you lining up with that purpose, man, you don't have fear. You able to slow down, relax, concentrate, and dig deep and push forward, man. I'm that 100% of the time. I'm like this if you see me jogging on the street or you see me in Walmart. It doesn't change with me, man. It's the same. The stuff I do is because I love my people. I'm willing to die for the thing that I'm talking about right now. I'm willing to die. And I expose all the things they do to us in the book. I did a lot in
Mm-hmm.
Motivated Mastermind. This was to keep people motivated. This is where I took the weak ass excuses away. This is for us. This is so we know all the things that they do to keep us from achieving our greatness. Man, that guy holding all that weight with a smile on his face. You see what it's built on?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
built on distorted history.
Yeah. What's crazy is that this is what let me know that America is not for us and they don't really care about our feelings and what we go through. They don't have empathy for us and that we have to create our own lanes because God, I don't wish death on nobody. So I would never say, when I see people on social media saying they glad this man passed away, they glad they took him away, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, they made a national day for this guy, and he spewed so much hatred. And my thing was, my only big thing about when Trump got into office was I don't. Everybody, all these politicians have their policies. It is what it is. Some you're gonna agree with, some you not. But the one thing I didn't like the first term and this term was his promotion of hatred towards whether it's the Mexicans, whether it's the where he allowed police brutality, he accepted it, whatever it was. So that's why I say that when you talk about being tricked, we have to understand what we're looking at every day in America and understand if we don't start putting ourselves in positions where we don't have to ask for nothing, we're going to keep getting the same thing. Like you said, we accept minimum wage. We accept them putting us in prison for no reason. Even when it's time to boycott something, we don't want to. We don't really want to take the time. People don't realize the bus movement, the bus boycott movement was months. It wasn't a couple of days. It was months. You know what I'm saying? That they had to sacrifice that. So, and black people, we spend $3 trillion in America. If we stop spending money in Walmart, in not just Walmart, Target, any establishment that's superior and that's trying to keep us down and don't put our money into the black dollar or whatever or somewhere else other than their corporate structure, we're never gonna get ahead.
It needs to
So let's
circulate in our community. It needs to circulate in our community. It's not like you
exactly.
said, it's not a us against them. It needs to circulate in our community. You brought up 5 things that I wanted to mention. My brother, did you have something you wanted to add to this, King Jacob? I heard you,
I
I saw
do,
you moving like you wanted to say something. I want to hear
I
you.
I, I do, but it's something a little different. So I'll let you answer this right here, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay. So the thing about it is, man, and I can say this with no fear of reprisal, right? Any all bad energies of the devil, all of it. All I mean, when you got kids that get out of line, you can spank them and not hate them. You can discipline them and want them to repent and change their behavior without hating them. You got what I'm saying? So when you got to
Mhm.
correct these people in the world, you can do it without hatred. But the people that the demons that are in the world, I 100% don't want them here. Charlie Kirk, I wasn't like celebrating that he died. But am I glad that he died? Do I feel like the world is a better place without him? Did I want him to be shot? I didn't care about how they removed him. It would be nice if his family didn't have to witness him being shot. But I feel like the world is a much better place that he doesn't exist and able to spew hatred. If you black, white, blue, green, if you spewing hatred, you don't deserve to walk this earth because you're making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I
I
feel.
agree.
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want him to be shot. I mean, that's imagine the kids that got to see that. You know what I mean? The kids that got to see that, man, that's an abomination, man. God, that don't put a smile on God's face. The fact that he's not here, able to push that preposterous message, I feel like anybody would be happy that man, we don't have to hear that trash. Similar to when Hitler died, I wouldn't want a kid to see him catch a bullet in the neck. But am I glad he gone? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm glad he's not here. I'm not out dancing, celebrating it, but we got a mission to do. We push forward, but the world is a better place because he's not here, and we got to do a better job protecting our Latino brothers and sisters too. We just sitting here, let it happen with ICE in them, man. That stuff got to go. We need to take a stand. I don't know the right mechanism in order to, for us to utilize the power that we have to deter them from enforcing those objectives, but it's not happening right with this, and I don't know exactly what's occurring. You know what I'm saying? I can't see behind the curtain. I'm just seeing what's on the news. I don't have a news feed that I trust that's worthy enough to give me the data that is truth and unfettered. You got what I'm saying? But from what I hear with them separating the families and regardless of your rights, being able to stop you, this, that, and the third, yeah, that type of stuff will get a bullet in your head. And I don't know the right mechanism to have them protecting themselves and know that we're in their corner. And there are whites that feel the same way. It's just what's the way to stop it? And I feel like us coming together is the only way all this stuff works. Because if they doing this to me and you see it, you're like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Everybody's jumping in. Everybody got to investigate. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that's going to police the police.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it. So Icon and Rashid, my question is this right here. You know, I'm a communicator. I engage with a lot of people. So as a man, as a man of melanated skin, as a man of purpose, as, as a man that wants to impact, the people every day and inspire people every day. Why do black women feel like they are the most unprotected species on earth?
Man, I love that question so much. I just did a post today when I was running, basically saying that we got to do a better job at protecting our women. I just did a post. It's on my Facebook page today. I just did a post on that. For me, it goes back beyond Willie Lynch, but I can just take it to, um, I would say, the Willie Lynch era. Y'all both know that story extremely well. The system they used to
Right.
basically to hurt the strong guy in front of his friend and in front of his lady because she's not protected. She's not protected. What they did is they made us in competition with one another, the same way they pitted us against each other. You know what I'm saying? They wanted the woman to be independent because you don't need the man, right? That's the system by design. Case in point, when women is on public housing assistance, they get the stipend and the assistance when the man is not in the household.
Mm-hmm.
True.
It's obviously not to help. If you wanted them to get ahead and you knew that they needed assistance, don't you think it would help them if they had an additional income that they can leverage to get themselves out of that situation? It's intentional. They
Mm-hmm.
are not protected, but it's by design that they're not protected. We love them, but they get to see that the way the system is set up and the way that they influence us to think with the propaganda that we would rather demean them and use them for temporary satisfaction instead of investing in them and their intellect in order to support them through perpetuity.
I dig it. And another thing I might want to add is the reason why I feel like a lot of women is unprotected. Black women nowadays is unprotected because the black males are not spiritually connected. They haven't discovered what we call spiritually awakening, and when you're spiritually awoken, then you move different, you think different. The value of life is different because we got to be honest. When it when it comes to a woman in general, the closest thing that they will ever see to death is when they're birthing a child. And so, and I think a lot of males really take that for granted. And so, with that being said, our like grandfathers and great grandfathers and uncles, they were spiritually connected.
I agree.
You
I
know, they
100% agree, my
just,
brother. Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so I think the way a lot of people walk through their journey now, they have no idea, you know, um, what the spiritual journey means when you're navigating. So if you can comment on that.
And I like the fact that you said that because you asked me, why do I feel like they're unprotected? I feel like because they've been used for that temporary satisfaction, but then the why goes to the deception that's been happening, that's intentional, and the fact that they don't have that, the guys don't have that spiritual connection. They don't realize that it's not just them against white Jesus, right? That's all they know. That's all they see. Instead of them delving deeper to say, well, let me investigate to figure out, why was this religion pushed on us? They didn't give us anything to help us during that time. So they didn't do it on purpose. They did it to further emphasize their hidden agenda of white supremacy. That's why they gave us a white supreme being. So guys keep focusing on, what religion should I choose, instead of them understanding that regardless of how you find that, like my dad say, that higher power, it's about you willing to connect to that higher power. And a lot of guys are not willing to do that. And that's their problem in every area of their life. Because when you connect to that higher power, you start connecting to yourself. You realize that your life has a purpose. Everything that you say to yourself has a purpose. How you speak, how you think, all of those things determine your future. A lot of people don't see that. They just think I'm just talking, I'm just doing something for the now, but they don't understand that you are basically creating your future.
Right.
But it definitely goes back to exactly what you were saying just now.
Right. So one last question. I'm gonna give it back to my brother Icon. For a black man walking on a miracle, American soil, what type of mindset can keep him equipped where he can where he can where he can leave an imprint so somebody else can follow his blueprint?
I love it. I love it. So the first thing is what you said a second ago, right? About having that spiritual connection. You got to have that. You got to know that you are God in the flesh, not that we are God. Like, I'm not praying to me, right? But that life force that wakes us up, that keep us driven, that keep us focused, that help us understand how to navigate through this world. That's real. And all bad energy is the devil. So now you got to make sure that you on your square where your energy is not attracting that negative energy, right? But at the same time, you got to know that you are the source. So if anything is that you ever experience, send your energy the other way, then it's your responsibility to check that and correct that in order for you to protect that energy. And that's what they need to have on their mind, that I'm not moving around with this aggressive, I'm ready to shoot you if you look at me wrong, but I'm willing to stand up and fight for a worthy cause. I don't I run by the highway. So I'm seeing everybody like in my face like this, right? Like every day I get the so I used to just look in the cars. And when I realized all bad energy is the devil, I said, man, maybe I got that energy when I'm looking at them. How about I see the horizon when I train? How about I inspire whoever going to get benefit from seeing what I do out here every day, twice a day? Maybe I'm going to move with a different type of energy. That way I'm not creating the negative that I don't need to encounter. That's going to send my spirit the other way. So then I'm moving around as a forceful being, creating the world that I want to live in. But I feel like guys need to be ready when something is not right. Worst case scenario, you got to be ready to fight. I mean, you might have to go around the corner face first. It's not about ducking, it's about standing up. But you can stand up without being a demon. You don't have to be both. I don't have to go run in the White House and make the president lay down for me to say that, hey, man, it's not right the way you treat our people. There's a way to do it that would make God proud. Let people realize their worth, realize their greatness, walk with their head high, right? If something's not right, you don't have to tolerate any disrespect. Protect your brother and sister. Love all the races. Make sure you protect your brother and sister and tap into your greatness and focus on the thing that you want to do and nothing else. Most people don't do that. They get that scatterbrain environmental schizophrenia, which is purposefully created. It was intentional. So good
Yeah, well,
energy, great energy, recognizing your greatness and focus, man, and with a lot of love, but don't play no games with nobody. Don't tolerate any disrespect. A lot of love in your heart, but anything that's unacceptable, you got to check, you got to address, and you got to remove yourself. That's it. No games.
So I appreciate you,
well,
man.
Oh yeah, I
well,
appreciate you, my brother.
I want to say this before we get out of here, but I want to say this to go back to when we talk about the black woman, we talk about the black man. It's two things. One thing, a black woman, a black man, we have to figure out a way to have better communication with each other. And what I mean by that, and understanding each other. The black woman's been through what she's been through. The black man been through what he's been through. But the thing about it is I get it bothers me when I see black women bashing the black man on social media every day because it doesn't make it any better. The one thing I speak on I spoke on a live we did last week on our church version of our live, gospel version of our live. And I talked about the one thing that we have to have is love. That's the one thing. That's one of the. If you look in the Bible, I forgot how many times, but love is used in the Bible. Probably I don't know a couple of hundred times. I don't know exactly number, but it's a number. Love is used all through the Bible. And that's something that we don't practice enough of because we always look for the negative in everything. So I would say this to black women. When you go from relationship to relationship, first of all, make sure you heal before you get to that next relationship. Secondly, don't judge the next person off the last person. If I meet a bad person over here, whether they white, if let's say I meet a bad white person, I'm not gonna just automatically assume this person is a bad white person. If I meet a bad black person, I'm not going to assume this person over here is a bad black person or Mexican or whatever it is.
Right.
So I treat everybody on who they are and on their own merit, and you have to show me that you're not who something else. I'm always be cautious and I'm always have discernment, but
Right.
I'm not going to allow myself to be like automatically assume that it's always got to be this over here or
That's why
this
you
over
said
here.
they need to be healed. That's why it was so pertinent that you said they got to be healed. Because part of healing is getting rid of that PTSD or learning to understand these triggers, learning to understand yourself, learning to know that he's not the person that hurt me. Learning that guess what? You are stronger because of what you went through, because you overcame those things, right? So like you said, the love part. I even said it yesterday. I went to go I was looking for a cat for somebody because I rescue animals, right? And if anybody ever has an animal, this is just something that I do. I take the animal and I find it a place. I don't care what kind of animal it is. I take it immediately. I house it, but I normally get placement within a few days because normally I just find the person that's looking. So when I was looking for the cat, this lady told me she lost her husband yesterday. She told me yesterday she recently lost her husband. So when I was grocery shopping, I went and got her flowers. She's a white lady. I went and got her flowers. I said, hey, you know what? And I told her and I told her supervisor, I said, man, we need to love each other. I said, that's the only problem we got with this world right now is we got to have more love. And I gave her a hug and a kiss on the forehead and I disappeared.
Hmm. Well, brother, I appreciate you coming on tonight. Just kind of let us know everything that you got going on, all your social media platforms, where they can find the book, and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, it was an honor for me to come on. Like when I was told that y'all wanted me on, I was in the middle of, some very serious stuff. And as soon as I read the message, I told her absolutely with three exclamation points. What I would say is if they look up Motivated Mastermind or they look up, it's on Amazon, but it's on all platforms. This is all over the world. There's no place that sells books or audio books that you can't find Motivated Mastermind. When it comes to the Invisible Bully, it comes out this Wednesday on Amazon. It's available for pre-order right now, but it comes out this Wednesday on Amazon. And yeah, I would appreciate if everybody was to purchase it. If you're close to Moore County, or if I find you in my travels, I'd love to sign it. I'm taking phone calls if people want to talk about this stuff. No matter what people need from me when it comes to them supporting what I do, I'm giving the same support back to them. So I'm not unobtainable. Everything I have been doing has been strengthening my mind, strengthening my spirit, and I've been working. You know what I'm saying? But anybody that's supporting what I do, you got me 100%. I'm on Facebook as Shaheed Black Panther. Shaheed Black Panther. That's SHAHEED space Black Panther. Connect with me, send me a request, send me a message, and I love to connect with y'all. And I love y'all. I love y'all. That's why I do what I do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, well, I appreciate you coming on, giving us your time.
Thank you.
If you need anything from us, let us know. Like I said,
Yes.
this is gonna be on Roku. This is going to be on our radio station, 168 Radio. So everybody continue to support 168 Radio. It's gonna be, all our platforms that we do. But
I love it.
I definitely wanted to, and this to let you know. So a lot of people who don't understand it, you'll get this. When I created the name 168 Radio, I'm gonna ask you a question just to see if you catch it. A 168 Radio. So basically, in a week.
What did you say? I couldn't hear you.
Did you?
No, you breaking up. I heard you say in a week. That's all I heard you say was week, and I hear feedback.
Okay. Yeah, I said yeah. So how many hours is in a week?
168.
168. So that's why I created it, because everybody always talks about 24 hours in a day. And I don't have enough time in 24 hours. And I broke it down. I said, well, if you broke down 168 hours in a week, it really broke down the time you could sleep, the time you eat, and the time you do everything. You actually probably have an extra 20, 30 hours in a week to create new ideas, to do something different, to be actually have a purpose and basically serve your purpose in your world, in the world that God
You
has
mind?
for you, that you so focused on that 24 hours that you actually have more time in the week than you actually know you do.
It's crazy, man. I learned something recently, right? So two things. I'll give you the most significant one to me second, right? So people look at like a million and a billion when they're doing the comparison. You know, a million seconds is about 11.3 days. A billion seconds is 31 years.
Mm.
It's 86,400 seconds in a day. 86,400 seconds. Most people are not getting 8 hours of sleep. So if you're working 8 hours, you got about 30,000 seconds of nothing if you're not being productive. 30,000.
Mm.
You know how hard it is to count the 30,000 in slow motion? You would go crazy. Might as well
Yep.
get to work. Might as well get to work.
Yep. Well. Hey, and now you said that, we gonna end it right there.
Done.
God bless you, brother.
You too,
You
both of
keep
y'all.
doing what you're doing. You know what
Amen.
I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you need anything, just holler at us.
Same way for
Yes,
y'all, man.
sir.
It was an honor, and y'all always got me, man. Anytime y'all ever need anything from me, it's just a phone call away. The answer is yes. I'll move some stuff out my schedule for y'all, just like that.
Appreciate it.
All right, my
Appreciate
man.
you. All right, brother. Y'all have a good night.
Y'all too.
Brown skin girl, and she knew I was out to go and clear my mind.
I train regardless of the rain. Boy, I've been having some tough days, y'all. Guess what? I train anyway. Hey, what's up, y'all? What I want to do is I want to make this a quick video. Before I get started, I thank God for the day. I want to say rest in peace to my mother and father. I wanted to give a shout out to my brother Shu, my whole family, and my brother Smoke. Welcome home. I'm glad you beat your trial. Then I got a message to the president of the divided states of America. Here's my problem. You're a racist piece of shit. I didn't stutter. I don't fear you. I don't fear white supremacy. I don't fear any reprisal. I don't fear the Klan. I don't fear the Proud Boys. I don't fear any of that. My name's Johnny Shaheed Miller. I'm a veteran. I'm the most patriotic person on this planet. Check me out. On the planet. However, the deceptions, the psychological warfare, the malignant psychology, it has to stop. You're at the helm. Everyone out there. So it's a fact I want to share with y'all, right? And I said it before, and I got a book that just released on Amazon 2 days ago called The Invisible Bully. I point out all the deception that's used to divide us regardless of race. We are 3% of the world's population, but we're 25% of the world's prison population. Yet, statistics show that there are over 100,000 people wrongfully convicted and incarcerated. You know, friendship is not synonymous with love. It's synonymous with loyalty, right? Like if I'm fighting and you love me, you fighting too. So I don't care if you white or you black or you Hispanic, Latino, or you Asian or you indigenous. I don't care. Let me make this. Your nationality, your origin, your race, your creed, none of that stuff matters to me. One nation, indivisible. So y'all got to understand something. We are at the precipice of our country having a complete makeover. You see they starting to slowly divide us. The President Trash, I don't want to say his name because they're going to censor it, but he's just like Hitler in Nazi Germany. So what happened is when he started his propaganda campaign against the Jews, he wanted to see the response he got from the people. Guess what? Everybody stayed silent. He said, you know what? I'm going to make sure everybody stays silent. Nobody talk. If you do, I'm going to get rid of you. I'm going to silence all opposition so I can continue with my mission of oppression. And that's the same thing the president doing, keeping us divided. I'm not standing for it. Now I'm black. Now I got friends that are white that joined the Black Panther movement. I have no fear of white supremacists. I dare y'all. Did you know that the Civil Rights Act was initially called the KKK Act? Because blacks were scared of what was going on in fear of, let me catch this, of reprisal and retaliation from the KKK. Did y'all know that? So their mission is to keep us silent and prohibit us from taking, or discourage us, from taking social action by keeping us in suspended terror. But if you don't feel fear and you're not distracted and you're willing to stand up no matter what, they can't stop us. There's more of us than it's them. There are more of Americans that want to see us together that are tired of this bullshit and tired of the deception. There are more of us than there are those races that perpetuate the agenda of white supremacy and division. There are more of us than there are of them. So we had the power. And I said this before and I say it again. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is not making the world think that he did not exist. It's making us forget our power. Got these from my dad. Love you, Pops. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making us forget our power. If they keep us divided, they got us. If you see ICE harassing somebody, harassing a family, if you see somebody being mistreated, then you gotta stand up, you gotta say something. If not, you're a bitch. If I'm fighting, you fighting. Because if you fighting, I'm fighting. We gotta fight together. That's what this is about, us coming together and fighting together. You know, it takes challenges and adversity to reveal, let me catch this, strength. It takes challenges and adversity to reveal strength. Everybody tough when nothing going on. But how are you when you face with a real world challenge? How are you when you fighting for your life? Guess what's happening right now? We're fighting for our life, but we don't see it because the battle is in slow motion. It's like environmental schizophrenia. You don't see all the things that's going on. First it was abortion. You don't see the stuff going on. Then it was affirmative action. Then they started rewriting history by getting rid of some of the statues of the great black Americans from the Civil War that were in opposition to the Confederacy. They started getting rid of them. So then you may not see it, but 100 years from now, in hindsight or retrospect, our children think all this shit is make-believe. How did y'all just let them get rid of statues? How did y'all let them rewrite history? It happens like this because social action, which is required for appropriate levels of social discourse, did not occur. We don't talk. We don't talk about relevant shit that pertains to everyone that's gonna keep us all protected in our best interest. We talk about so many things that's called environmental schizophrenia. They do it on purpose. That's what I'm saying. The things that they do to keep us divided and distracted are intentional. That's why our only mission is recognizing deception, coming together, taking social action. President Trump, fuck you, you a bitch. I'm not scared of you or your white supremacists. I'm telling you, my name is Johnny Shaheed Miller. I approve this message. Hey y'all, we need to come together. I'm gonna drop the link. It says, join the Black Panthers. I need everybody to join. I need everybody to join. I train regardless of the rain. Boy, I've been having some tough days, y'all. Guess what? I trained anyway.